I'm your host, Nick Ginsberg, and you're listening to The Open Drive, a podcast focusing on authentic living and defining your own path against the odds. Well, hi there. Welcome back to another episode of The Open Drive. I am, as always, very excited and grateful and humbled and whatnot that you're listening, so thank you so much. And thank you to the new listeners. Hello and welcome. Thank you for reaching out. In the last episode, I stressed that it'd be lovely for you to reach out on Instagram and say hi and let me know a bit about you. So thank you to those that did that. It was great. I loved chatting with you. So just a reminder, if you want to do that, if you want to reach out to me, which I love, head to Instagram and find me. Nice and easy. It's just Nick Ginsberg, all one word, and you can find me, flick me a DM. And just before we jump into this episode today, I do want to remind everyone that this podcast in general covers off on childhood trauma, addiction, mental health, amongst various other things. So just a warning. Okay, so today's episode, I want to talk about those acts that you do that give yourself a bit of a mental health break. So kind of recharge yourself, if you will. And I want to pinpoint it back to a time. So I think it was 3 episodes ago, I discussed dementia and grief around mum's diagnosis and her ending up in the home. But I wanted to really pick it up from there and share with you a lesson that I learned in terms of giving my brain and body time to rest and time to heal and time to relax, which wasn't something that I was very good at. So what happened is not long after mum went into the aged care facility and she was being looked after well and all of that, Ricky and I had booked to go on a cruise from Brisbane up to the islands. We went to Fiji, New Caledonia, somewhere else. But we did all of those kinds of islands, which was fantastic. But I had not processed anything that had just happened. So I hadn't given myself a chance to stop and breathe and feel what was happening and deal with everything that had happened with mum. I just hadn't. I hadn't given myself a chance to really process all of that. And so we fly up to Queensland, we get on the cruise ship. My mum was brought down to say goodbye to us and a quick hello. We got to see them before we got on, but by my auntie and uncle. And we said goodbye to them. We get on the ship. And this was the first time I'd ever been on a cruise ship. Now, I know some people either love cruising or they hate cruising. I adore cruising now. I am a huge fan. It's great for me, and I'll tell you why in a second. But we sail away. Everything's fine, and Ricky had done cruises before, and so he knew to pack stuff to really lay by the pool and read. He was reading books and all of that, and then we get. I think we're probably 2 or 3 days in, and I could not relax. So Ricky would want to spend hours laying by the pool. I couldn't do it. I couldn't turn my brain off. I couldn't stop fidgeting. And looking back, I can see that it's because my body was trying to process everything and was trying to sort of regulate and keep myself busy so I didn't have to think about it, I think, also to a degree. And so I remember we're a few days in and Ricky said, just relax. I just need you to relax. Just lay down, just relax. And of course, that did not go well for me. And I really struggled. I really, really struggled on that cruise. We watched, which wasn't helpful. I think about halfway through the cruise, we watched The Notebook. If you haven't seen The Notebook, and if your parent has, or one of your parents has dementia, I don't recommend it. It's a beautiful movie, and it was lovely, but I cried so hard at the end of that movie that I had to go out onto our balcony to get fresh air. And I was doing, you know, that cry when you just can't seem to get a breath? It was like that, that kind of cry. So it broke me. That movie broke me, and it was actually really good that it broke me, because I was able to let everything out. And come the end of that cruise, I was doing much better. I didn't have, and that was at the period also when I was dealing with a lot of sort of abandonment issues as well, which was rearing up when it was such high stress. I touched on that on an episode last year. If you haven't listened to it, head to it. There's a 2-part episode, Abandonment Part 1, Abandonment Part 2. I'm very creative with the titles of my podcasts. So that they're in that. So I'd suggest that you listen to those if you haven't yet. But yeah, so I was dealing with abandonment issues at that point as well. So of course, during this cruise, I'm dealing with my own head spinning and thinking that Ricky's about to leave me. He wasn't. And so we get back and I felt really relaxed. After being able to shut down sort of the last few days, I was really able to relax. And it was great. Since then, Ricky and I have done... I'm not sure I'm going to be able to count them. I think we've done 6 or 7 cruises. And it's the best. It is the best for me. It's the time where I get on board, I unpack my suitcase, I put my phone generally in the safe, or I carry it around but don't really check it. And I switch off. It's heaven. It's usually just Ricky and I. We get to lay by the pool. We get to eat dinner at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which is perfect for us because we are clearly 90 years old. And it's just great. It is my time where I can switch my brain off. I can reset. I can relax. And it's fantastic. A big part of that for me is actually being around the water as well. So born on the Gold Coast, I spent so much of my time around water, and particularly at the beach. And water does this thing for me. It completely calms me. It centers me. It makes me relax. And so often what I do now on cruises is we always get a balcony room because, you know, I like fresh air. And I will often sit on our balcony and just watch the water. We can be in the middle of the ocean. There's not a ship or land in sight, and I will just stare at the water. I could look at it all day. It just makes me feel so calm, and it's heaven. And so we try and go on cruises regularly. Obviously, COVID happened and we haven't been on one. Although we did manage to get on one just before COVID broke. So during the bushfires, we actually were on a cruise, and the bushfires happened, for those not in Australia. They happened, I think, a month before COVID. So pretty rough time for those communities that were affected by bushfire and then struggled with COVID. So they're still recovering 100%. So we had gone on a family cruise, which was the first time I'd been on a cruise with anyone other than Ricky. And we had a big cruise booked. There was a whole bunch of us going. I can't remember how many. I think there was probably 20, something like that. And we had T-shirts made. So Ricky's cousin, Taylor, had these T-shirts made. And we walked around only on the first day when we boarded with T-shirts that said WTF. Now, I'm not going to say what the common thing is of that. You can piece that together yourself. But ours was with the family. So that's what we used. And we all had our names on the back, like a class of 2000, like school jersey type thing. And it was so much fun. Anyways, we got on that cruise and I was like, oh, am I still going to be able to relax? What's that going to be like? And I was. It was totally chilled. So much fun. Got to spend a lot of time in the water. It was great. It was fantastic. It was really, really, really good. And so we managed to get that in just before COVID. But obviously we haven't been on a cruise since then. So that was January 2020 we got back. And it's very first world problems that I'm complaining that I haven't been on one again or have one booked. But, such is life. It is a really important thing for me to be able to go on trips and to make my mind kind of zone out and give myself a chance to breathe. And so I've really loved cruising. So I wanted to share that with you. But the purpose of sharing all of this with you is not so much to share my story in this episode, although I say that 10 minutes in, but it's more to have a prompter for you around, even if you don't struggle with your mental health, it's really important that we all have those moments where we can zone out and give ourselves a mental health break. And I think it's really important that we can continue to do that. So what I would urge you to do, and again, I'm no expert in this. I'm not a therapist, nothing like that. But what I've learned from me is that find those times, and obviously cruising is the main one for me, but I have other periods where I'm able to zone out for a brief period and relax and do all of that. But find those times in your day where you can block out, or find what makes you relaxed, you're most relaxed. When can you stop your mind from running, right? What is it that you're doing when you're able to stop your mind from running? For some people, that's exercise. So running, riding a bike, dancing, you name it. That's when people are able to relax. Fantastic. Others, it's listening to music or watching TV shows or going on holidays or spending an hour at the beach or sitting in the pool, or, there's so many things that you can do. So what I would do is think about, when are those moments where you feel the most relaxed? What do they align with? So what are you doing during those moments? And then actively put those into your routine. So actively have moments where you can really zone out and you can just be quiet, doing whatever it is you want to do. I do that. I listen to music probably 3 times a week in bed. And it's literally, Ricky's fast asleep. It's at night. I'll put my AirPods in and listen to music. I listen to maybe 4 or 5 songs, completely zoned out. And it calms myself, sort of calms my brain. And then I go to sleep and I'm out cold. So integrate the moments that give you that sort of calmness into your day, into your week, into your year, to make sure that you're staying on top of it. Because regardless of whether or not you have a diagnosed mental health issue, we all need to make sure that we are able to stay on top of our own mental health and give ourselves a chance to breathe and relax and make sure that we're looking after ourselves. So this is going to be a shorter episode because I wanted to share that with you. I've got some exciting episodes coming up, which I can't wait to share a bit more of my story, a bit more of dynamics, dealing with hardships, more lessons that I've learnt. So we've got a few more episodes in this series for 2021, and I'm really looking forward to sharing those with you. So I'm going to leave you with that, and that key takeaway. Find the moments that you are the most relaxed and then actively input them into your schedule. Really simple. So please make sure you do that. Regardless of how you're feeling, it's important that you give yourself a chance to breathe. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you stay safe and healthy regardless of what you're doing at the moment, and regardless of what you're doing at the moment, you know what I meant, and have a great day. I will talk to you in the next episode. Thank you again for listening. Have fun. See you later.